Cubs on WGN-TV, your official summer baseball station. Chicago Cubs baseball in high definition is sponsored by Comcast. It is summer, believe it or not, and it's going to feel like summer big time this weekend. We will hit the 80s again and maybe even the 90s when the Cardinals come in. But mild, if not downright cool tonight. Now the Braves starting lineup. They're in fourth in their division, the East, 5 back at first place, Philadelphia. McLeod, Prado playing third. Chipper Jones bothered by a groin injury. He's day to day. Garrett Anderson playing left. It's the all-star Brian McCann catching. Yunel Escobar at short. Casey Kochman at first. Then Francoeur. Brooks Conrad, the second baseman. And the pitcher Vasquez hitting ninth.
And let's check out how the Cubs take the field defensively tonight. Behind Carlos Zambrano, brought to you by Pepsi. Pepsi, refresh everything. Soriano in left, Fukudome in center. Michael Hoffbauer getting a rare start out in right field. Bradley with bad career numbers against Javier Vasquez. Ramirez and Terrio on the left side of the infield. Fontenot and Lee on the right side. Coy Hill doing the catching tonight. For Big Z, Carlos Zambrano.
Well, he basically volunteered to pitch tonight on short rest, and they'll shorten him up. Probably 80 to 90 pitches, and he will be available to start the night portion of the day-night doubleheader on Sunday against the Cardinals, with Ryan Dempster now out. What they're saying is 3 to 4 weeks with the broken right big toe. Todd Tichenor will call the balls and strikes. Jim Joyce, Bill Miller, and the crew chief Darrell Cousins on the bases, and we're quickly underway. Ball one to Nate McLeod, who hit a home run last night, had 3 hits overall. 1-1. 65 degrees, and the wind is out of the east at 7, which does explain the cool temperatures coming off the lake.
Yeah, wind out of the east translates to blowing in from right field. Should knock down fly balls hit toward right. Maybe help balls hit the left field a little bit.
3-1 from Zambrano to McLeod, with Martin Prado on deck. No Chipper Jones. Not sure if he's available to pinch hit or not. He played last night as McLeod was. And Prado, who normally plays second, moves over to third. And switch hitting Brooks Conrad, a rookie, playing second. Well, Prado was cooled off by the Cubs last night. He went 0 for 5 after a blistering week last week, which earned him the National League Player of the Week. He bunts, and Zambrano thought about second, but instead he'll go to Derek Lee. And that's a sacrifice for Prado. Don't miss the action as the Cubs battle the Cardinals this Friday. Game time 1:20, but be sure to arrive early. The first 10,000 adults 21 and older will receive a Cubs white t-shirt. Compliments of Bud Light. I was going to say the first place Cardinals, but by Friday, who knows?
You never know.
They're in Milwaukee for 3 starting tonight. They lead the Brewers by a game, and the Cubs are only 2 back and in third. Strike to Garrett Anderson. I'm going to take my breath here. Catch my breath. Z's working fast.
Really fast. I mean, faster than he normally works. And he always works fast.
Safe. He almost got McLeod as Terrio snuck in behind him.
That's a big weapon for Carlos Zambrano because he has such quick feet. Unfortunately, the throw a little bit high for Ryan Terrio. Man, he might have an argument there. Looked like Gariot got the tag down on the hand of Nate McLeod before he was able to get to the bag.
Broken bat grounder to Fontenot. McLeod at third, but there are 2 outs.
Boy, the reason I say that's a weapon, everybody in the league knows that Carlos has that quick pickoff move to second base, and when you have a speedy runner like Nate McLeod in scoring position, that's going to force him to shorten up his lead a step or 2 and cut down his chances of possibly scoring on a base hit to the outfield.
Now, 4-time All-Star Brian McCann named as a reserve to the NL All-Star team, so he'll be a teammate of Ted Lilly's, and he just knocked in Nate McCann with his 34th RBI. And he is 6 out of 10 against Carlos in his career. Wasted little time. First pitch swinging, and it's 1-0 Braves.
It looked like a splitter that just kind of wiggled up there in the middle of the strike zone, dropped down just a little bit, but not enough. McCann able to square it up and hit that clean line drive into right field for an RBI.
Yunel Escobar, the shortstop. Strike one. 2 hits in the opener and some very solid defense. Ball found him all night. And believe it or not, Aramis Ramirez had 0 chances at third base in his return from the disabled list.
I don't even think he had that many opportunities in his rehab assignment with the Peoria Chiefs. To the best of my knowledge, only 1 ground ball hit his direction in the 3 games he played at Single A Peoria.
Kick in the 0-2, swing and a miss on a fastball. First strikeout for Zambrano. The Braves get 1. The Cubs are coming up. For tonight's game against the Braves, brought to you by Pepsi. Refresh everything. Kosuke Fukudome has been excellent as the Cubs leadoff man the last 3 days. Ryan Theriot at 289. Derek Lee red hot, keeps hitting home runs out of Wrigley Field. Hoffpower in for Bradley, just getting a night off. There's Ramirez, second game back. Soriano batting 6th. Fontenot, Hill, and Zambrano rounded out.
Quick look at the Braves defensively. Garrett Anderson, Nate McLouth in left and center. Jeff Francoeur out in right field, the 07 Gold Glove winner with 19 assists that season. He has 6 this year. Prado at third, Escobar at short, Conrad at second, Kotzman over at first base, Brian McCann doing the catching for veteran right-hander Javier Vasquez.
130 strikeouts for the veteran Vasquez, tied for second in the majors, trailing only Tim Lincecum. He's tied with Justin Verlander in strikeouts. And he was excellent against the Cubs 3 starts ago. That was his last win, and it was at Turner Field, 2-0, 6 2/3. He gave up 9 hits but no runs, 116 pitches.
Not only does he strike a lot of guys out, he rarely walks anybody. Only 23 base on balls in 112 innings coming into play tonight. That's over 5.5 strikeouts per walk for Vasquez.
He turns 33 later this month. Just missed 3-1 on Fukudome. Braves got him from the White Sox in December. Big leg kick in the pitch, called strike 2. got a lot of weapons he can strike you out with.
He can sink his fastball. He can cut it. He can throw a high four-seam fastball if he wants to go up in the zone. Good curveball. Good changeup. He went 6 2/3 against the Cubs down in Atlanta. Gave up 9 base hits in that game, but did not allow a run to score.
Another 3-2s. Kosuke's making him earn it. He has gone 5 for 11 in the leadoff spot. Von Joshua, the hitting coach. And he struck him out on a fastball for the first out.
After a lot of pitches on the outer half of the plate tailing away, Vasquez comes inside with a tailing fastball, and Fukudome swings right through it. Not a total loss, though. He saw a lot of pitches in that at bat, and you have to look at the big picture, especially when you're talking about your leadoff hitter. If he can force that opposing pitcher to throw a lot of pitches to get him out, that should help the rest of the lineup later in the ballgame.
Yeah, that's a more productive out, so to speak, than a first pitch ground ball to the second baseman. And leading off really does play into Kosuke's strength, which is strike zone judgment. Up the middle, Escobar throws it across for the out. The ball was not hit very hard and gave the shortstop plenty of time to get over there. Well, I don't know how you're feeling. Usually when Michael Hoffpower faces a particular righty, you get that feeling. It's easy to get that feeling when Derek Lee digs in the first inning. The last 2 days, he's hit 2-run homers in the first inning.
And that's something that the Cubs have done to the Braves over their last 15 meetings. The Cubs have won 11 out of 15, and they've scored 23 first inning runs.
Derek has pounded Vasquez in his career, 21 out of 53 with 3 home runs. Long look at McCann. Now the 0-1 pitch. Inside, 1-1. They got their gloves on. They know what's going on.
They better be ready.
The pitch. Knee-high fastball, 1-2. We'll keep a close watch on the Cardinals and Brewers in Milwaukee tonight. Wainwright and Gallardo. Ryan Ludwig with a 3-run homer in the first inning. And the Cardinals are still batting. Swing and a miss. Strike 3. Vasquez with 2 punch-outs in the first. It's 1-0 Atlanta. Casey Kochman, the first baseman, taking a strike.
Ooh, stay in the boat.
Yeah, a little cool. But if you like to sail, you sail. On July 7th. You only don't sail if there's a big storm out there or something. But cold weather's not going to keep people from sailing on Lake Michigan. No way. Low, 1-2. Z's amped up, working even faster than normal. Gave up a first inning run. Roll to Derek Lee. He'll take it by himself. Tonight's Walgreens Celebrity Bat Kids are Morgan Harbison from Mundelein, Illinois, and Spencer Gregor Skillman from Hobart, Indiana. For more info on how you can be a Walgreens Celebrity Bat Kid, go to WGNradio.com. Walgreens, the pharmacy of the Chicago Cubs. First start of the series for Jeff Francoeur. Drives that ball the other way. Michael Hoffpower in position. If Francoeur can swing like that all night, probably he'll go 0 for 4 or 5 with the wind blowing in from that direction.
Yeah, very little action that direction tonight. At least as far as hitting the ball over the right fielder's head or out of the ballpark.
Now switch hitting rookie second baseman Brooks Conrad, who came up from the minor leagues on Friday. And promptly hit a game-winning 3-run homer off the bench as a pinch hitter on Jesus Colome for his first career home run. That was in Washington. The 1-1 pitch, low and inside.
Conrad spent most of last season in AAA with the Oakland Athletics organization in Sacramento. Didn't hit for much of an average, 243, but he did have 28 home runs, 91 runs driven in, also had 29 doubles.
It's good wood on that one, and Hoffpower got a late start, almost into the basket, hit the corner there in the well, and Conrad's going to end up at third with a stand-up triple. That ball was smoked, and the Cubs are fortunate it didn't get out.
Well, what I said about not being able to hit it over the head of the right fielder, disregard that comment. Boy, Brooks Conrad flexing his muscles, showing some surprising pop. That pitch was down and away from him. He went down and golfed it back to right field, right near that well area. Took an odd carom off the wall. By the time Hoffpower got it back in, Conrad pulled into third with a triple.
His first career triple. There are 2 outs. And the pitcher Vasquez at the plate, broken bat grounder. Fortunately, the barrel of the bat hit the backstop and didn't go flying into the stands as Terrio throws him out, and the inning is over. After an inning and a half, 1-0 Braves.
I think Eric pretty much said it all last night.
Michael Hoffpower deposits one into right center for the first Cubs hit. He's batting cleanup in there for Milton Bradley, who should be back in there tomorrow afternoon. Bradley and Soto getting the night off. As Hoffpower snaps an 0 for 13.
Well, Lewis said repeatedly, going all the way back to spring training, he was going to try to find places to give some of his regulars a little bit of a rest. And Milton Bradley 3 for 18 lifetime against Javier Vasquez. So tonight seemed like a good night to give Milton a little bit of a rest, get Micah Hoffpower in there and get him a few at bats.
Nice hand for Ramos Ramirez, 0 for 4 last night, but his teammates picked him up as the Cubs took game 1 4-2. Cubs are 4-1 on this homestand. They've won 5 of 6 overall. They will finish the official first half in terms of game 81 tonight. Over 500 is just a question of 1 game over or 3 over. They're 41-39. And Bob, you got to go out and you got to play the second half. I hate to be clinical and mathematical about this, but Cubs will finish the first half with 41 or 42 wins. Okay, you think about all the things that did not go right. I'd have a hard time believing as that's sliced into the right field corner, foul. I'd have a hard time believing the Cubs would have a worse record in the second half. So right there you go, okay, 82-83 wins, and then you say if this team plays as well as everybody thought it would or could, they might be just fine. And nobody else in this division has just stepped up and raised its hand and said we're going to win it.
You know, and one factor more than any other jumps out for me, Len, is the way that the bullpen has settled in. It's hard to remember early in the season, but if you do remember, you want to forget the bullpen was just a disaster area. Couldn't find guys to fill roles down there, couldn't close out wins, couldn't keep the other team off the board early. The bullpen has really settled in. Guys seem to understand their roles down there, what's expected of them. And I think moving forward into the second half of the season, that will be the biggest difference maker. The bullpen that can shut down games when you have a lead.
The Cubs are going with 11 pitchers on the staff, meaning 6 relievers, at least here for the final week into the break. Another 0-2, and that's low and outside on a slider. 1-2 to Ramirez, who's 8 for 29 against Vasquez. A lot of previous at bats for this Cubs lineup against the veteran Javier Vasquez. Cued foul. Well, you wince a little bit when you see a Ramos with the left shoulder take a swing like that, but on the other hand, you feel good about it because he's confident that he can let it loose. He has a very violent swing.
And that's why players go on rehab assignments. I'm sure the first at bat or two, Ramos was kind of feeling his way through it, but his last 2 rehab starts, Reed Johnson said he was really letting it go.
Lets that one go, and his first hit since returning from the DL. And the Cubs have 2 on for Alfonso Soriano.
Welcome back. They got a pitch right in the middle of the plate. That's what Rami usually does with those pitches. Drive them hard somewhere. This time a line drive back up the middle of the field. Brian McCann now going to step out in front of home plate and alert his infielders what he's going to do should the Cubs attempt a double steal. With a dead pull right-handed hitter at the plate, I would assume if the Cubs tried to pull a double steal, we'll see McCann throw to second base. I'd be shocked if the Cubs tried a double steal.
Breaking ball strike. Soriano's been in the 6th spot for a few days, but he's actually led off a lot of innings. But his first at bat here tonight comes with 2 on and no outs. So 2 curveballs and 2 strikes. Took the first one, swung at the second one. And Vasquez, again, as we said, has a lot of options.
Oh, he can go a lot of different ways here. He can throw that high 4-seam fastball up out of the strike zone. We've seen Soriano chase that when he could go with another breaking ball, this time in the dirt. See if he can get Soriano to chase. Could push him off the plate with a fastball inside to set up the next pitch. The slider down low and away. That time Soriano able to check.
Trying to get his home run stroke back, just 2 over his last 39 games. A 1-2, and then he struck him out. So he threw him 4 consecutive breaking balls, and it strikes out Soriano. Continues to hear it from the Wrigley Field fans. Let's check out who's moving forward with Toyota. Mike Fontenot off to a good start in the month of July. And the Cubs off to an excellent start as well. That's tonight's Toyota moving forward thanks to Toyota. Braves still want a chance at a double play with 1 out in the inning. Fastball strike.
You know, and I really think a lot of Fontenot's offensive problems earlier in the first half, it could be explained away by the fact he was playing third base. He was playing out of position, a position that quite honestly he did not feel comfortable at, but he was doing what he had to do for the benefit of the team. And I think his offense really suffered for it. Now that he's back at second base, a much more familiar position, he looks a lot more comfortable at the plate.
I think we'll see on occasion Jeff Baker, maybe Andres Blanco against a lefty, but the Cubs aren't going to see any left-handed starters until after the break. We'll see Reed Johnson against lefties leading off. Hit foul off to the left. Well, the other thing about the Soriano switch in the lineup in terms of Lou Piniella, I mean, it was one of those issues. Even when Soriano was hitting well, it just kept coming up. Every 7 to 10 days he would be asked about it. And I just feel like the lineup he has out there now has more of a, if not permanent look, there's a template there, and you just can plug a guy in here or there as opposed to fundamentally changing everything.
Well, as you mentioned about Soriano hitting down lower in the lineup, he's led off a lot of innings since he's moved down to that 6th spot. But you think back to all the home runs that he hit with nobody on base as a leadoff hitter. A lot of home runs to start ball games, and you love that, to jumpstart the offense, get an early lead in a game. But it always made you wonder, what if he was hitting 5th or 6th in the lineup with runners on base ahead of him? How much more damage could he have done with the home runs that he hit?
A 1-2 to Fontenot is low. Well, to be honest, if he's not swinging the bat well, the people who didn't want him to lead off are going to say you can't hit him 6th with runners on base because he strikes out. So in some ways, Bob, this whole conversation is almost a moot point. You just want him to hit.
Yeah.
Wherever he is in the lineup, you want him to hit. And he wants to hit too. The 2-2 pitch hit foul. Hoffpauir led off the inning with a single. Ramirez followed with a base hit, and then Alfonso struck out. Vasquez trying to put away Mike Fontenot. Another 2-2 pitch and another foul. I do remember in that start in Atlanta that we referred to earlier when he gave up 9 hits and no runs, he teetered physically, and it looked like it kind of tweaked his neck. I think the trainer came out at one point and he told him, "I'm okay." And he did get into the 7th inning that night, but he had to work very hard.
Well, the Cubs making him work hard here in the early going of this ball game. A lot of deep at bats, seeing a lot of pitches.
That's driven in the air. McLeod with a long run, and he makes a catch. And they might have a shot. Nope, everybody's going to get back, as both guys were basically at the next base. Hoffpauir almost all the way to third. Ramirez had gotten to second. And Nate McLeod, who won a Gold Glove last year with the Pirates, makes an excellent over-the-shoulder catch, running directly away from home plate.
Well, that's a tough one as a base runner, because McLeod was shaded over into the gap in left center. He had a long way to go to get to that ball. I think both base runners felt that ball was going to get down safely in right center field, but McLeod made up the ground. Perhaps the wind held that ball up a little bit, allowed him to run underneath for the catch.
Coy Hill batting 8th. Takes strike 1 on the outside edge. Cubs are 12-7 with Coy Hill behind the plate. Giovanni Soto is starting to hit for more power. He's been excellent defensively. But Lou still wants to keep Coy Hill in the mix and give Soto some rest on occasion, as the Cubs have played nearly 3 weeks without an off day.
And once again, much like I mentioned about Milton Bradley, if you're going to give one of your regulars a day off, give him a day off against the guy he struggled against. Soto 1 for 8 lifetime against Javier Vasquez.
See Jake Fox on the left. He survived the big roster cut yesterday. The Cubs had to make 3 moves to allow Ramirez, Johnson, and Angel Guzman to come back from the DL. Swing and a miss, 1 and 2. Kevin Hart was optioned out along with Sam Fuld. Hart's back and will start tomorrow with Ryan Dempster on the DL. And rookie right-hander David Patton with a groin strain put on the disabled list. One, 2 to Hill is low. I think the key next year, Bob, is that the Cubs don't start the year with nobody on the DL, because we talked about that in April. It was the first time in I think 23 years the Cubs began a season without anybody on the DL, and about 2 days into the season guys started dropping left and right. Full count on Hill. An action pitch for the runners with 2 outs. There they go. Here's a pitch. We'll do it again.
Well, McCann had to go through a lot of signs to get to the pitch that Vasquez wanted to throw there on the full count pitch to Coy Hill. Decided to call his catcher out there and talk it over. That can't be a problem for a catcher until you get familiar with the pitcher out there on the mound and know what pitches he likes to throw in certain situations to different types of hitters. When he's got 4 or 5 or 6 weapons available, you can go crazy back there behind the plate trying to guess along with your pitcher.
Runners go on this 3-2, and this one's also hit foul back to the seats. Got a shot of Bobby Cox, who's the all-time leader in ejections. And I think, would he be proud of Ryne Sandberg?
Absolutely.
Rhino has been tossed 3 times in a week as he manages AA Tennessee in the Cubs organization, and he just got suspended for 3 games for bumping an umpire. So the fiery Ryne Sandberg. Base hit center field. Hoffpauir coming around. McLeod is going to throw to third. 1-1. Coy Hill ties it up. Well, that was a good at bat for Coy Hill.
Yeah, another deep at bat. He saw a lot of pitches from Vasquez in that full count situation. Finally gets a backdoor breaking ball and just absolutely hammers it up the middle of the field. Boy, fortunate for Aramis Ramirez there. The Braves were in no kind of a cutoff situation there as McLeod's throw went through all the way to third base. Aramis had taken a big turn around second, but was able to easily get back because there was no Brave there to cut that ball off.
Zambrano takes a strike. Knocked in the game-tying run on Friday versus Milwaukee. Got a no decision on the mound. Big swing, 0-2. Cubs eked out a 2-1 win in 10 innings.
Good curveball from Vasquez. Big Z way out in front.
Fastball outside. And he struck him out on a curveball to end the inning, but the Cubs get a run on 3 hits. They strand 2 after 2. It's 1-1. Backup catcher Coy Hill coming up with a big base hit to tie it up at 1 apiece. So Vasquez really slowed down with runners on base. Carlos Zambrano likes to work very quickly no matter what the situation is. He's back to work. Ball one to McLeod, who walked and scored in the first. Braves got him a little over a month ago from the Pittsburgh Pirates while the Cubs were in Atlanta. And he bounces right to Terrio. Cub fans, don't forget to visit the WGN Sports Game Zone at WGNTV.com. Brought to you by The Great Escape, for up-to-the-minute stats and info designed to give you everything you need to know during the game. The WGN Sports Game Zone is available for every Cubs game and is brought to you by The Great Escape. Pools, patio sets, play sets, hot tubs, and more.
We like more.
More.
More's good.
Team Prado's pretty good. 319 on the year. Had a stretch of over 6 starts last week. 15 hits, 8 doubles, a homer, and 6 RBIs. That's hard to do. He's had a couple of 4-hit games within a week's time. Two and two the count.
And Prado is a valuable piece to Bobby Cox's puzzle with this Atlanta Braves team. He can play just about anywhere on the field. He's played first, second, third, short, and outfield.
And they have another guy who fits that bill who's on the DL. They definitely miss Omar Infante with a fractured left hand. Kelly Johnson was struggling before he went to the DL with a wrist injury. Saw Tim Hudson today. He was throwing a simulated game. He's coming back from Tommy John surgery. It's probably going to be late August before Tim Hudson's back, but looked like he was throwing the ball well a few hours before game time. Prado with his first hit of the series. Tell you, Bob, this team can pitch. Well, if they could go out and make a deal to add some more offense. They already did in the McLeod trade. But they might hang around that Eastern Division because of that pitching.
That's been a trademark of the Atlanta Braves teams going back the better part of 20 or 25 years. Strong starting pitching, well balanced bullpen for Bobby Cox. He's got 3 lefties and 4 righties out of the bullpen, so you get the feeling if they can get on track offensively or get some help offensively in the second half of the season that they're going to hang around all year.
The 0-1 to Garrett Anderson, swung on and missed. This is just Anderson's second career game in this ballpark. His first was last night. Last Thursday hit his first career pinch hit home run in his 8,184th career at bat. Swings and misses and strikes out, 2 away. Not used to pinch hitting a whole lot over there in the American League.
I would imagine a guy like Garrett Anderson that spent his entire career until this year in the American League would draw some comparisons between Wrigley and Fenway. I mean, there are some similarities as far as the cramped visitors clubhouse and the long walk out to the bench. Fans are right on top of the action and certainly get verbally involved in the game. I'm sure Garrett has heard it out there in left field in this series.
An interesting question to ask him. Outside corner to McCann, who drove in the Braves run in the first inning. If in some ways he feels like a rookie this year, because even though it's his 16th year, he is going through a lot of stuff for the first time in a lot of unfamiliar ballparks. Although, Bob, interleague play has kind of affected that idea. First decade and a half with the Angels. Although if you look at any stats website, it looks like Garrett Anderson's played for 3 teams before this. California, Anaheim, and then Los Angeles. But they're all the same team. Driven the other way. This is trouble. And it's going to get all the way to the corner. And Prado's going to be sent by the third base coach Brian Snitker, and he's going to easily score. As McCann has 2 RBIs and 2 hits tonight, and it's 2-1 Atlanta. You see why he's an all-star every year.
Yeah, you're absolutely right, Len. The guy can just hit. Fastball belt high out over the plate, doesn't try to pull it, just drives it the opposite way with authority. Tough to defend against him. You have to play your outfielder straight up. He'll pull pitches inside. He'll go the other way with pitches away. He's got some pop. Runs pretty good for a catcher. He's a real deal.
Escobar hits it hard but foul. It's really hard to kind of read anything into those numbers about the short rest. Zambrano 0-3 with a .551 and just 3 career starts on less than normal rest. But I will say this, I'm slightly surprised he doesn't have good numbers, in that he's excellent on normal rest and is better on 4 days than 5 days. And what you sometimes hear is that sinker ballers are more effective if they're just a little bit fatigued and aren't quite as strong, so they don't overthrow. So of all the candidates to work on short rest, I would think Carlos would be right at the top of that list.
Yeah, not to mention that physically he's just a horse out there. He's the guy that you figure would be able to shoulder the extra workload better than some of the other pitchers in the rotation.
Escobar strikes out, but they get the lead back on the RBI double by McCann. It's 2-1 Braves. Fielder tossing the ball up. Oh, and the fan able to get it on the first try. That time he got it. Fan for life right there. That's tonight's Have a Ball, thanks to the Illinois Lottery.
Who's your favorite team? The Cubs. Who's your favorite player? Jeff Francoeur.
A strike to Kosuke Fukudome. 2-1 Atlanta. Brian McCann has stepped up his game tonight with Chipper Jones on the bench. Oh, 2. Bottom of the order got to Vasquez as Coy Hill knocked in the tying run. in the second. No swing, says Darrell Cousins at third, 1-2. Spins around and strikes out. That's 5 already for Vasquez. He's only faced 10 batters.
If the Cubs hitters have been paying attention, they'll notice that Vasquez going more and more to that straight changeup when he gets to 2 strikes on a Cubs batter. This is the straight changeup here to Kosuke Fukudome. About 10 miles an hour slower than his fastball, but the same arm motion.
Oh, what a play by Vasquez. That ball was rocketed off the bat of Ryan Theriot. So then we go in the box. Scores a 1-3. Excellent defensive play.
Nearly passed him when he stuck his glove out there. It looked like he was going to put his bare hand in front of that ball initially, but able to get the glove across to make the backhanded play and throw on for the out.
You may recall, as Derek Lee steps in, Ryan Dempster in his last start made what I call the kick save. And I thought that might have been the injury, that it hit his toe. We found out today that he broke his right big toe while jumping over the railing, which is something he's done a lot and probably will never do again after a Cubs victory. But Ryan also got hit in the face during batting practice. His legs all bruised because of that kick save, and of course he breaks his toe going over the railing. Go figure. 2-1. Here comes a 1-0 from Zambrano to Casey Kochman. 2 balls, no strikes. Kochman grounded out his first time. Z trying to get his first win in over a month. 5 consecutive winless starts, even though he's sported a 3.15 ERA during that time. Walks the leadoff man for the second time tonight.
The 2009 Chicago Cubs baseball season on WGN, your official summer baseball station, is brought to you by Bud Light. The difference is drinkability.
Francoeur fouls away. I want to say hello to Hank Smith watching tonight in Cleveland, Tennessee. Also Matthew Zachary watching tonight in Indiana.
Also like to thank Joe Prieto, the guidance counselor at Hinsdale Central High School in Oswego. Sent me some nice articles from the old Sports Illustrated back in my playing days when I actually got my name in there a few times. Joe's recovering from back surgery. Get well soon.
And also congratulations to former Cubs Todd Walker, Joe Carter, and Keith Moreland. They've been inducted in the College Baseball Hall of Fame. Keith Moreland will be with us this weekend. We're going to take an early All-Star break. Catch your son Michael in Peoria, and the former Cub Keith Moreland will join me in the booth on Friday and Sunday.
I prefer to think of it as going on location. We'll go do some scouting down there.
On assignment, as they say in the TV biz.
There you go.
Also have a happy birthday to Ruth Hellman, right?
Yes, Ruth Hellman, from her sons and the rest of the family. They wanted to make sure she had a great birthday. They're all thinking about her. They all miss her.
Can't forget her birthday, 7/7.
That's right.
7/7/09, but it was 7/7/07 a couple of years ago. Swing and a miss. Francoeur strikes out.
He is prone to swing at the thrown ball. It doesn't matter what it is or where it is. Jeff Francoeur thinks he can hit everything that comes his direction. And that aggressiveness is part of what makes him good, but it's also what sends him back to the bench after strike three quite often.
Conrad with a triple in the second. And he crushed it off the wall in right, just below the basket.
As he's slowing the pace down considerably. That opening game jitters and adrenaline has kind of worn off at this point. Taking a little more time between pitches.
Look out, Glenn Hubbard, longtime first base coach. Back in the day, nothing would have gotten by him.
No.
Longtime second baseman.
Tough as nails, boy. He would hang in at second base as good as anybody I played against.
All-Star 1983. Toward the hole, but it's cut off by Fontenot. The throw to Lee is in time to get Conrad, who's been impressive at the plate. 1 for 2. Almost had his second hit.
From our southwest sky cam, the ball looked like it was ticketed for right field. Mike Fontenot closes ground, gets over there in good shape, has to get rid of it quickly. Conrad, not only with some pop in his bat, he can run a little bit.
So Vasquez batting with a runner in scoring position for the second time. Last time with Conrad at third, he grounded out to end the inning in the second. And this time Kochman is at second. One and one on the pitcher. Well, with 2 outs, the Cubs pitchers are pretty stingy. Only the Giants have allowed fewer runs after 2 were out.
That number was 108 going into play tonight, but the Braves were able to push across a 2-out run on the base hit by Brian McCann back in the first.
Giants a winner last night over the Florida Marlins. Brian Wilson got the save. I think he gave up 2 runs in the ninth. A 37 pitch ninth inning. Bouncer up the middle, charged by Terrio. Lots of time, and the inning is over. Leadoff walk. And no runs. Guy missed 70s night last night. 2-1 Atlanta. Of the game, sponsored by Comcast. The Hancock Building, Michigan Ave. The patriotic red, white, and blue. That's Cubby blue, isn't it?
I believe so.
Pretty close. Cubs baseball in high definition, sponsored by Comcast. (2-1) Braves. Javier Vasquez has been a tough luck pitcher this year. He's a 3.05 ERA, but a 5-7 record. 7th in the National League in ERA, 10th in innings pitched. Right near the top in strikeouts, as we mentioned. 1-0 on Michael Hoffpower. Here's 1-for-1 with the Cubs run. You know, Bob, I think, there's a difference in personality, obviously, between Vasquez and Zambrano in terms of how quickly Z works, and Vasquez doesn't. But I think part of it is just he has so many pitches, and I think it takes him longer to figure out each pitch what I want to throw. It's a little easier for Z.
Especially against hitters that maybe he doesn't have much of a track record against. Now, your Derek Lees and Aramis Ramirez, guys that Vasquez has faced many times in his career. I'm sure he's got a real good idea of what he needs to do to get them out, but a guy like Micah Hoffpower or Coy Hill, maybe Kosuke Fukudome, guys he hasn't seen a lot of. I think he has to rely a little more on his catcher and the advanced scouting report on how he should go about getting them out.
And let me ask you this, and I don't know if it's something he's thought about, but a guy with a repertoire as vast as Vasquez's, the longer he takes between pitches, I think the more the hitter thinks, which might make him even more effective. Point being, if he worked really fast, the hitter can't even think, oh gosh, am I going to get a curve or a slider? You sometimes can get mentally tied up when a guy just won't work fast.
And that's why you see a lot of hitters will step out of the box. If the pitcher doesn't deliver the pitch in a timely fashion, and the hitter's mind starts to work in that direction, you start to try to guess along with the pitcher and the catcher. That's when a batter has to step out of the box, clear his mind, get back in there and start over again.
Shook off a couple of signs. In on the hands and popped up the other way on the infield for Prado. This Saturday is 7-Eleven Day here at Wrigley Field as the Cubs host the Cardinals at 3:10 p.m. throughout the game. Great prizes will be awarded to lucky fans in random seats. Compliments of 7-Eleven. Oh, thank heaven. Ramos Ramirez is 1 for 1. Hit hard and a diving stop by Conrad, and he gets the out. That ball hit the side of the mound and kicked up and gave Conrad a little time to get to it. He robs Ramirez of what would have been a second hit.
Yeah, there's no question the mound changed the direction of that hard hit ball back up the middle of the field. Get a real good look at it from this angle. Hits on the side of the mound and kicks back further toward Conrad, allowing him to get there with the dive and make a nice play.
Soriano with 2 outs and nobody aboard. Fastball strike. Go back to his first at bat. He saw 4 curveballs and struck out with 2 on and nobody out at the time. Well, this game is so mental. You know, Soriano had to have in the back of his mind, first pitch, I'm probably going to get a breaking ball. And he took a fastball for a strike. And then he came out of his shoes on a breaker.
And here's that same 0-2 situation he was in last at bat. A lot of different ways Vasquez could choose to go. He throws a fastball up and out over the plate away, gets a foul ball. And that's part of the problem with a hitting slump. You think too much. You just have to see the ball and react to what you see. Trust that your hands are going to be quick enough to wait, recognize the pitch, and then pull the trigger.
Still 2 strikes on Soriano. The middle, base hit on an 0-2.
That's about as abbreviated a swing as you will ever see Alfonso Soriano take in a 2-strike count. Usually he's still trying to hit the ball out of the ballpark, but that time shortened up. Got the barrel of the bat on the ball, drove it back up the middle of the field for a big 2-out base hit.
Fontenot takes one low. Just for a second, I want to go back to the first pitch of that sequence against Soriano. If Alfonso's swinging the bat the way he normally does, I think Vasquez probably comes back with a curveball even after that first at bat. But with Soriano struggling, I think Vasquez thought, you know what, I'm going to challenge him here, and he probably won't swing at it. And if he does, he might not hit his pitch. I think that's a veteran move by Javier Vasquez. I mean, all you're hearing is he can't hit a breaking ball, can't hit a breaking ball. He threw one right down the middle. Now, he made a mistake on an 0-2. Sometimes it depends on how a guy's swinging the bat in terms of what you throw him. I mean, if you go back to your career when you were swinging the bat well, my guess is you hit everything, right? And when you weren't swinging the bat well, they could throw the pitch that everybody said, don't throw Bob Brenly, and you probably missed it.
And they could tell you it was coming and you wouldn't hit it. Yeah, but when you're locked in at the plate and you're seeing the ball and you're picking up the rotation on the baseball right out of the pitcher's hand, physically you feel quick enough to get to the pitcher's best fastball in any situation, and you recognize off-speed pitches quickly and make the appropriate adjustments, and it all feels seamless, it all feels natural, and you wonder why you can't do it every ball game. But outside of, I don't know, Tony Gwynn, maybe a few other select hitters, most guys will go through periods where they're seeing the ball well, they feel well, they're hitting it well, and they'll go through many periods where just the exact opposite is true. Not seeing the ball, jumping, guessing, getting yourself into a lot of trouble.
1-2 hit foul. Well, Soriano is due for one of those very hot stretches of 10 games and 7 home runs, 16, 17 hits. And when he gets in that stretch, he looks like the greatest hitter in the history of baseball. Nobody can get him out. Conrad will pick it up and throw out Fontenot. So Soriano with an 0-2 base hit. But he's stranded, and it's still 2-1 Atlanta after 4. McLeod on the first pitch of the 5th inning is flied out to Kosuke Fukudome.
Was right in his tracks. Sinking fastball away. McLeod drove it into center field, but Kosuke right there.
Martin Prado 1 for 1 with a sac bunt and a run.
Those are the kind of at-bats, Len, that Mike Quade, who sets the Cubs defense in the outfield, they love those kind of at-bats where the guy hits the ball right on the butt. It's a hard line drive, and one of your defenders is standing right where the ball comes down, doesn't even have to move. Mike and all the coaches spend a lot of time poring over those spray charts. Where do hitters hit pitches in certain counts against certain types of pitches? You set up your defense accordingly and hope everything works out the way it's supposed to.
And after the high heat, couldn't catch up to it. 2-2. Catches up to this one, but Michael Hoffpower doesn't have to move that much, drifting over toward the line. And 2 outs. Now time for the 5th inning, brought to you by Subway. Hey, Chicagoland viewers, how would you like to win 5 $5 footlongs from Subway? Just be the 500th texter to text Subway to 97999. Go to WGNTV.com for complete info and rules. As he bouncing around as he works here in the 5th. 2-0 to Garrett Anderson. Season series tied at 2 apiece. It will end tomorrow. And the Cubs and Braves after this week won't meet again unless it's in the playoffs. Well, they've met a couple of times over the past decade plus in the division series. All 4, 2-out walk, bringing up the ever dangerous Brian McCann, who already has knocked in 2. Down the middle, strike 1. A good snag there by Coy Hill.
Well, you know you're going to get your work in when you're catching Big Z. His pitches have so much late movement. His command at times can be a little bit erratic. He throws the ball extremely hard, heavy sinking fastball.
Pulled, foul.
Just what we were talking about earlier. It appears that Brian McCann is seeing the ball extremely well out of the hand of Carlos Zambrano. Getting the barrel of the bat on the ball, just missed extra bases down that right field line there.
Beautiful shot of the city. On the north side of town, a 1-2 to McCann. Got him, called strike 3. First time he has retired McCann tonight. It's still 2-1 Braves to the bottom of the 5th.
With special guest Humphreys McGee will be playing the Alpine Music Valley July 18th and 19th, brought to you by Bud Light. Tickets are available exclusively at livenation.com. That's Dave Matthews with our buddies Humphreys McGee, July 18th and 19th. Brought to you by Bud Light. Bud Light, the difference is drinkability.
Coy Hill bunts, and McCann picks it up and gets him. Wow, what a play by Brian McCann. I was surprised he picked it up. I thought he might let it roll to see if it would go foul. No need, apparently.
That's about as good as you can do it from behind the dish. You'll see Brian McCann, first of all, gets out of the chute quickly, gets rid of the mask, gets down that third baseline, turns his back to first base, wheels and throws all in one motion, just a half a step ahead of Coy Hill. Good idea by Coy Hill. Better defensive play by Brian McCann.
And it's not like McCann could see where Hill was down the line. He was just calculating in his head. Catcher running. I've got a shot.
It's that internal stopwatch I talk about all the time. You don't have to necessarily see where that runner is. If you know his speed from the advanced scouting reporter from playing against him in the past, you should know about where he is down that first baseline. A little bit of a risk for Brian McCann, but he made a great play.
Well, Z feeling comfortable enough to bat left-handed. We've seen him a few times bat right-handed versus a righty because of a sore hand. Struck well, diving stop, Escobar, and the out. Oh, the Braves have made several excellent defensive plays tonight. You had McLeod's big catch in the second off Fontenot. Terrio robbed of a hit by the pitcher, Vasquez. A couple of nice plays by the middle infielders, the catcher as well.
Yunel Escobar, he's got a cannon for a throwing arm, but also great range, especially up the middle of the field. He covers a lot of ground.
Is he really stretching out to try to hit that bag before the ball reached Kochman's glove? And with all these plays, Bob, we haven't seen one by arguably their best defensive player. That's Jeff Francoeur in right with a cannon for an arm.
Teams don't run on Francoeur as much as they did his first couple of years in the big leagues. Everybody wanted to test him and see what kind of a throwing arm he had. It became very apparent quickly that he had a cannon, but then you wanted to know, could he be accurate with that cannon? And he's proven that he's very accurate.
Tough night for Fukudome, and he's still trying to figure out Vasquez. Maybe he did there. Nope. Right to the first baseman. He's now 0 for 9 in his career with 4 walks against Vasquez. It's Atlanta 2, the Cubs 1 as we head off to the 6th. The Cubs have seen enough of Javier Vasquez. Been really good against them in 2 starts, including tonight, working with a 2-1 lead. Escobar, Kochman, and Francoeur due up against Carlos Zambrano, working on short rest. A liner is caught by Ryan Theriot. 1 pitch, 1 out.
Time now to look at tonight's AM PM player of the game, working on short rest. Carlos Zambrano has been better than expected. We documented before the ball game he's had some command issues when working on short rest. He has walked 3 in the ball game, but he struck out 5. Tonight's AM PM player of the game, Carlos Zambrano. Too much good stuff.
Now, in all fairness, as Kochman hacks and misses, the short rest is not overly significant. He was going to start tomorrow at 1:20. So if you add it up, it's really shortened by hours, not days.
Right. You get the feeling Carlos is one of those guys that would have liked to pitch back in the day of the 4-man rotation, if for no other reason, just so he could get more consistent at bats. But he's a guy that physically, as I said before, seems better suited than any of the other Cubs starters to come back on short rest and take the ball.
Roxon fires on a 2-1, and it's hit foul. Cardinals now leading Milwaukee 4-0 in the 5th inning. Colby Rasmus with a home run. So Giovanni Gallardo's given up 2 tonight. The other one was Ryan Ludwig in the first, a 3-run shot. Served out in the left center, base hit for Kochman, who has now been on twice. Francoeur 0 for 2 with a strikeout. Sinker misses low and in. Mark DeRosa's on the DL. He will not play in that weekend series when the Cardinals come here. Not available at all this week. He was 0 for 9 when he got hurt. It's a wrist injury, and the Cardinals today put him on the shelf. So he'll be out through the All-Star break. Hoffpauir catches. Francoeur is out.
Well, you know what Ted Lilly will say? He's ducking me again.
Yeah. It gives. It's a wrist strain, I believe, the left wrist. Runner at first, 2 outs. The pitch to Brooks Conrad misses up and in. Conrad with no batting gloves. You saw him grab a pile of dirt, rub it on those hands.
Very many guys that choose not to use the batting gloves nowadays.
Two and one. Former Cub, the lefty, and part-time broadcaster Dave Otto. Good to see Dave at the ballpark. Well, I know somebody. He's got pretty good seats.
Yeah, he does.
Popped up off of third, and it's Ramirez over there, but the wind's going to push this one into the seats. Left-hander Sean Marshall is up.
Best fielding fans in baseball.
the t-shirt beat the guy in the suit and tie to the ball. The guy in the suit and tie would be probably have the upper hand at a ball, but in terms of catching a ball, a little more reach, stretch out a little bit in the t-shirt.
Yeah, and the guy in the t-shirt brought his glove. Of course he's going to make the play.
Probably near the end here. That's why Marshall's up. Swing and a miss to end the inning. That'll be it for Z. Most likely it's 2-1. See if the Cubs can get him a lead. Now tonight's Honda Accord game summary. Visit your Honda dealer and test drive a 2009 Honda Accord. Ryan McCann with both RBIs for the Braves. No Chipper Jones tonight. Tweaked a groin. And Ryan Dempster put on the DL. Bizarre injury. Not suffered on the field. It was trying to get on the field as he caught his left foot on the railing and broke his right big toe as the Cubs went onto the field after Sunday's win over Milwaukee.
Well, we all know how bad that can be. The big toe is the captain of the foot.
It sure is. Well, Ryan was embarrassed. I mean, he alluded to some of the strange injuries that have occurred off the baseball field in the long history of this game. They're kind of head scratchers, and he knows that'll fall right into that, but nothing he can do about it now except get that thing healed up and get back in the rotation ASAP. And as Lou said, it's a big opportunity for Kevin Hart, who will start tomorrow. He was working out of the Cubs bullpen, but before that was starting at AAA Iowa. Kevin was optioned yesterday and brought right back up today, so he'll start tomorrow. A 1-2 to Ryan Theriot. Slider misses low. 2-2. Angel Guzman up, so Z's done after those 91 pitches. A quality start. 6 innings, 2 runs.
And as quickly as you'd like to see Dempster come back from that broken toe, that's one of those injuries, Len, since it is on his right foot, his push-off foot on the mound. You definitely want to make sure that you're back at 100% before you go out there and start throwing that baseball again.
Well, nobody really knew about the injury until today. I mean, the Cubs did. They didn't disclose it. Ryan was hopeful think as late as this morning that he was going to be able to pitch, but they had it x-rayed, and once they found it was broken. And the good news is, if there is good news, it was non-displaced, which means he can come back a lot faster if he doesn't aggravate it. And he still can play catch, and that's a key to keep that arm loose and strong. Just missed as Todd Tichenor took an extra look at it from behind the plate. 3-2. Vasquez knows this is a key batter with Derek Lee and his 16 home runs on deck. Yunel Escobar, 1 out. While we have a moment, let's step aside and see what's coming up on WGN. Bob Brenly, Len Casper from Wrigley Field, along with our WGN Sports crew, most of whom decided to bring a jacket, which would have been a smart idea. Right kind of on the edge. I think you'd be okay with short sleeves, but especially upstairs with the wind blowing in, not a bad idea to have a light jacket. Jim Tianis has a jacket and is now putting it on for the cameras.
On cue.
Hit foul by Derek.
You saw Javier Vasquez there. He's done it a few times in this ball game. Occasionally he'll change his arm angle. He'll drop down to a real low 3/4 arm angle. Try to freeze that hitter with a fastball. Haven't seen him throw a breaking pitch from that same low arm angle. All fastballs so far.
A struggle for the Braves on the road. They have not won a road series since the end of May. Just lost 2 of 3 in Washington. Dropped 3 in a row overall. But they lead 2-1 tonight. Still a long way to go. Stayed high. 3-2. Hoffpauir on deck. Did you see Ryan Braun got in a little trouble with his GM?
Yeah, I did see that.
After that series over the weekend when the Cubs won 3 out of 4, he basically said Cubs starters were better. Doug Melvin didn't appreciate it as Lee strikes out. 2 down here in the inning.
Fastball runs up and into Derek Lee. Saw the pitch he was looking for, but it just kept moving and ended up in a location Derek just couldn't get the bat on.
Braun basically apologized before the game tonight to anyone in the organization who was offended, and just said, look, I'm emotional, and said everything's good with the GM.
One thing you try to avoid in that situation is starting to point fingers at any one aspect of the game. And I mean, I agree with Ryan Braun. Cubs pitching, starting pitching was a lot better than the Brewers starting pitching in that series.
Hoffpauir pops it up. And who's going to catch it? Garrett Anderson. So Vasquez cruising along through 6-2-1 Braves. Tonight, a band that was in town recently, Jet with She's a Genius.
She only listens to the radio to see who's alive. Yeah. She wakes up scared of getting old. She don't feel no shame. She knows so many pretty boys, they are all the same. They said, "Oh, hey there, girl, tell me what do you do?" She said, "I'm nothing but I'm dead, sure it's more than you."
It's tonight's Bud Light Fan Cam. She's a genius. With just the right taste that never fills you up, the difference is drinkability. Here's Angel Guzman off the disabled list, activated yesterday. And back in that 7th inning role that he had grabbed before he got hurt. It was a triceps injury. Vasquez batting for the 3rd time. Nothing in 2 the count. Swing and a miss. He struck him out. Nate McLouth 0 for 2. He walked his first time and scored. Angels 1-0 pitch is hit foul into the upper deck. Our good friend, legendary comedian, Chicago native, big Cub fan Tom Dreesen will handle our 7th inning stretch tonight. The 1-1 from Guzman is high. 2-1. Bob, you got to tell the quick story about your son Michael. Got a chance to catch Angel Guzman. Yeah, what a thrill.
Angel was pitching for the Chiefs and started the ball game. He only went 1 inning, only threw 11 pitches. But when I talked to my son Michael after the ball game, I said, "How was he?" He said, "Dad, that's the best pitcher I've ever caught in my life." He said, "Every sign I put down, every location I gave, he hit my glove." called for a two-seamer in. He threw a two-seamer in, hit the glove. I called for a cutter away. He threw a cutter away and hit the glove. Boy, just a great experience for all those kids down in Peoria or down in Iowa when you get a chance to play with the major league players out on a rehab assignment, see how they go about their business. I know that the Peoria manager, Marty Peavy, commented to the team, you know, watch these guys and how they go about their business, how they prepare for a ball game. That's the way you have to do it.
Full count to McLeod. Prado on deck. The DL stint for Guzman, the third of his career. And a fly ball the other way. This is slicing away from Soriano, and it's going to land barely foul. I don't know about you. I'm kind of glad Nate McLeod is out of the Cubs division.
Whew. Yeah, he's a good player. He does a lot of things well on the field. He gives you a pesky at bat every time up there. If you make a mistake, he's liable to hit it out of the ballpark. He can steal a base. Plays great defense out in center field. Yeah, we don't mind missing him.
Still 3-2. Some ejections tonight, including Manny Ramirez in New York. Tossed out by the home plate umpire John Hirschbeck, called out on strikes, threw some equipment, got the heave-ho. Dale Swaim and Willie Randolph, coaches with Milwaukee. Got kicked out by Bill Hahn, home plate umpire.
Well, Len, I don't have any data to back this up, but I would venture a guess that the ejections usually do go up in the games leading up to the All-Star break, and then probably in the dog days, end of August, when the weather starts heating up and guys are a little physically tired, and you've had a lot of ball games and you've had calls go against you by certain umpires or certain umpiring crews, and that's usually when you see the ejections start to climb.
Another 3-2 and a deep fly ball into right center, and Hoffpauir will have to chase it down. McLeod is going to stick with a double.
Long at bat by Nate McLeod. Had a chance to see everything Angel Guzman had to offer. Finally got a cutter in the middle of the plate down and just spanked it into that gap in right center field. Pretty nice play by Micah Hoffpauir to hold McLeod to a double.
Runner in scoring position for Prado. Fastball strike. Aaron Heilman joining Sean Marshall, who's up for the second time. McLeod dancing off of second base, and the pitch is inside. 1-1. McLeod might take off for third. They don't run much, but he does.
We talked about it the first game of the series. His one caught stealing this year came against the Cubs at third base.
And this would be the kind of situation where he probably would like to do it. One out, trying to get to third. Not going on this one, and Prado slices it down the line foul.
And Ryan Theriot is the Cubs middle infielder with the task of trying to hold McLeod close out there at second base. We were talking about the spray charts earlier in the ball game, and this is where they really come into effect. And with runners at second base, where does Martin Prado usually hit the ball? Does he try to inside out it to right field? Does he pull the ball? What kind of pitches is Angel Guzman likely to throw him, and where is he going to throw those pitches? And that determines which middle infielder tries to keep that runner close at second base.
Another one into right center. Hawk Power will get over there to cut it off and make the catch. Follow your team on your iPhone and iPod Touch with MLB.com. At Bat 2009, featuring play-by-play, video highlights, and live audio broadcasts. Visit Cubs.com on your iPhone or iPod Touch to purchase. Brings up Garrett Anderson. This would be a spot you'd think about Sean Marshall. However, Anderson's hitting .327 versus lefties. Bob, how hard is it as a manager to make the counterintuitive move in this spot? Meaning you stick with a righty against a lefty because of the numbers, whereas most managers just go lefty versus lefty, regardless of those matchups and the splits and what have you.
Well, and a lot of it depends on the right-handed pitcher. Angel Guzman has good movement. He's got pitches to use against a left-handed hitter. So it's you know, it's one of those things, if it doesn't work, you know you're going to have to explain yourself after the ball game. But in this case, the numbers bear out the fact that Angel Guzman is probably the right guy against Garrett Anderson.
Big swing by Anderson, 2 strikes on him.
Now, if you start making moves just to appease the people who would say, yeah, you got to put a lefty on the lefty, that's when you start getting into trouble. You have to know your own players and their abilities and the strengths and weaknesses of your opposition, and then do what you know is right in your own heart.
Crowd wants a strikeout. Lou just wants Guzman to get out of the inning. Here's a pitch. Hit foul. I also think Angels starting to creep into that area like Marmol and Gregg, where he pitches the 7th and he pitches the 7th. You start to become this dominant. You don't worry about matchups. You just say this is your inning. And you have guys, if needed, to bail you out. But Lou is showing a lot of confidence, and Angel Guzman is pumping that strike zone here in the 7th.
And not to mention the fact that Angel Guzman has held lefties to a 178 average this year.
Another 0-2 tie. 96 on that fastball. Inside. 2-2.
Well, that's a good pitch, because Angel Guzman had thrown Garrett Anderson a couple of cutters, pitches that move into a left-handed hitter, in that same location. This time he comes back with the two-seam with the tails back toward the inside corner. Completely fooled Anderson, but did not get the call.
Wide for ball 3. McCann lurking on that. McLeod at second. 2 gone in the 7th, as Guzman tries to get out of it. Lou chatting with his bench coach, Alan Trammell. And the next 3-2. Hammer foul. A lot of balls hit down both lines that have been just fouled tonight.
That's really about all Garrett Anderson can do with that pitch. That's that cutter inside. Starts on the inside part of the plate. Dive bombs further in. It's either a swing and a miss or pull it foul down that first baseline.
Long at bat continues. Garrett Anderson with 2,426 career hits, 277 homers. It was debut back in 1994. Here comes a 10th pitch of the at-bat, and a high fly ball for Soriano in left. Time for the stretch with Tom Greasy.
Tonight's guest conductor for Take Me Out to the Ballgame is Chicago native and comedian Tom Dreesen.
The greatest fans in the world. Are you ready? A 1, a 2, a 3. Take me out to the ball game. Take me out with the crowd. Buy me some peanuts and Cracker Jack. I don't care if I never get back, and let's root
Javier Vasquez still in. Bottom of the 7th. It's 2-1 Atlanta. Very tight ball game tonight here at Wrigley Field. All the runs coming early as Aramis Ramirez is at the plate, and the linesman in the left for a base hit. Tying run is on base. Soriano coming up, and our good friend Tom Dreesen, the pride of Harvey, Illinois, in the booth with us. How you doing, Tom?
I'm doing real good. Thank you very much. I'm coming here last night and tonight just to be in this great ballpark once again. Living out in California, you really miss it.
Great to have Aramis Ramirez back in the lineup. He's had a good night. Could be 3 for 3 if not for a really nice play by Brooks Conrad earlier. And here's Soriano with a chance now for the Cubs to tie it or take the lead. And a curveball for a strike. He's seen a lot of those tonight. Well, the top of the 7th took a while, but Guzman got out of it.
Yeah, he did. I was sweating it out here. I think Soriano's going to come out of this slump real quick, but they are throwing a lot of breaking balls. I was sitting behind the plate for 6 innings, and that's all they're throwing is the breaking stuff.
The 0-1 pitch, that one is in the dirt.
I get the feeling they're going to hang one of those curveballs, maybe right now.
Well, that's what he's looking for.
You like the idea that he went to the 6th in the lineup and they put Fukudomi up on top?
I think so, Bob, and I talked about it earlier. You take a little pressure off Soriano, and in terms of Kosuke, I mean, he takes a lot of pitches, and you saw in the first at bat tonight, even though he struck out, it made Vasquez work.
Yeah. Right now, Alfonso, right now.
A 1-1. This could be 2, 6, 4. Beat it out. The fielder's choice for Soriano. 1 out in the inning. And Tom, you will receive the Illinois Fatherhood Achievement Award tomorrow. Congratulations.
No, thank you. Yeah, it's a great organization. I'm not crazy about award things, but this is a great organization. We'll be at McCray Country Club tomorrow in Barrington. They're the first statewide organization to create programs in home schools and hospitals to connect children with fathers and help fathers become better father figures. And so that's kind of close to me and special to me. So, yeah, I accept the award, and I'll do a show for them, and and we'll have a lot of fun.
Well, that's great. You will be the MC for your friend Joe Pesci, right? Golf event coming up.
Yeah, Joe Pesci and Smokey Robinson are going to be with Rocco Mediate and Anthony Kim, and the proceeds all go to St. Barnabas Hospital on July 28th up in New Jersey. And I do a show for them, and I MC and narrate the contest between those players.
There's a strike to Mike Fontenot. Rocco Mediate, Bob, we saw him where? Pittsburgh, I believe.
Yeah, in Pittsburgh. He threw out the first pitch at a Pirates game, and had his son out on the mound with him.
Yeah, he's a good guy. He's a real good guy.
Peter Moylan is righty, and Eric O'Flaherty, the left-hander. Runner at first, 1 out. Cubs trail 2-1. We're with comedian Tom Dreesen, and you're going to be on Letterman again for about the 965th time.
I do a show exclusively because he lets me host once in a while when he doesn't feel good. So every time I see Dave, I say, "You don't look so good. You got to take some time off." I'll be on July 29th. Yeah, he's a buddy, and the show's a lot of fun to do.
Throw to first, Soriano back. Again, crowd getting on Vasquez. He's trying to keep that tying run close to first base.
That pickoff play, Zambrano in the earlier innings at the end, was that? We couldn't tell.
Well, on the replay, it looked like they had him. Ryan Theriot got the tag down quickly before McLeod got his hand on the base. It was very close, but I think we had him.
Low for ball 1. 1-1.
So how's your golf game? Are you hitting it straight?
Yeah, I've been working on some things, and I think I came up with something, and I'm hitting the ball a little bit better. But when you lost it is when you think you found it. But I love it. I love the game. Golf and stand-up comedy are the greatest things that have ever happened to me.
Slide step and swing and a miss by Fontenot. So it's your 40th year in show business.
Yeah,
Does
September.
it feel like 40?
No, it flew by. Tim Reed and I, we were up here a while back.
Yeah.
We started out here in this city in 1969, September. We went on stage our first time. We were America's first black and white comedy team in history, has shown we were the last. So now we have that book out, Tim and Tom, an American comedy in black and white, and there's talk of making a movie of it now. So that'll be fun. But 40 years, it flew by. And the 14 years with Sinatra flew even faster.
That's low. I just want to know in the movie if you will play yourself back in 1969.
Yeah,
you
sure.
look like you could.
Minus this gray hair and a whole bunch of wrinkles. And no, I was thinking more of Brad Pitt, to be honest with you.
Okay.
But, you know, Jeremy Piven has said to me he'd like to play me in the movie, and as well as a kid named Ryan Flippy, who's a wonderful actor, who was in The Flags of Our Fathers. But they both have expressed interest. We'll see.
Fly ball left field. Garrett Anderson coming in and making the catch. So 2 outs in the inning, and it'll be switch hitting Coy Hill, who has the lone Cubs RBI. It was a 2-out single back in the second. Did you see Tiger Woods the other day interviewed himself after he won the tournament? He can do it all.
He's amazing. I played with him when he was in college, you know, here at the Western Open and stuff. And for years I do shows for his foundation, the Tiger Woods Foundation. And he's a classy guy. He's an incredible athlete and a classy guy. And what a gift to golf. What a gift to golf, the game of golf.
That's a strike. And just a beautiful night. Cool temperatures. What's it been like in Southern California?
It's been hot, really hot. We've had some hot weather there. And we had some June gloom there, you know. But I'm out there with all those Dodger fans who give me a bad time. You know, I go to Dodger Stadium to root for my Cubs, and I got to... Of course, I stick around to at least the 9th inning. They usually leave around the 4th, so I only get razzed for 4 innings.
Well, we'll be out there, I believe, in August, a long weekend.
I'll be there.
Good.
I already got
to
tickets.
See you. Now, are you brave enough to do the whole Cubs hat and the whole thing? And...
Oh, sure. Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
Good.
But then I have a bulletproof vest and a helmet.
Milton Bradley on deck. He would bat for Guzman.
You know, Tom, I've joked in the past that the reason all those Dodger fans leave early is because they set the timer on their hot tubs and they want to, you know, make sure and get home.
Absolutely.
When the bubbles start going on.
Absolutely. And you're not far from wrong, you know. They're a different breed. It's a different, when you come from a city like this and you come from neighborhoods and you first move to Los Angeles, it's a real culture shock. A real culture shock.
2 strikes on Coy Hill. It's low 1-2. Parking lot there at Dodger Stadium. Not the easiest place to get out of if you're in a hurry.
No.
Partially explains why people leave in the 4th and 5th inning.
Yeah.
Giovanni Soto with his batting gloves on, ready for a pinch hit at bat if needed tonight.
I hope he's needed.
Right inside. Tom, did you hear about Ryan Dempster's injury?
No, he didn't break his toe.
He broke his toe.
Oh, my God.
Jumping over the railing after the game on Sunday.
Oh, boy.
Right in that area. He won't be doing it anymore.
You know, a broken toe takes what to heal? 7 or 8 years?
They're saying 3 to 4 weeks, but you know, being a starting pitcher and being his right foot, that's one you want to make sure is fully healed before you go out there and try to pitch again.
Wow.
Ground ball to first, and it's gobbled up by Casey Kochman. Tom Dreesen, always a pleasure. We'll see you in LA coming up later this summer.
Sure will. Thanks, guys. You do a great job. I really enjoyed it. Thanks so much.
13 2/3 innings against the Cubs this season and only 1 run allowed. A lot of hits. But the offense is in the runs business, and the Cubs only getting 1 tonight against Vasquez. Sean Marshall will pitch the 8th. Two lefties due up in this inning, McCann and Kochman, with Escobar in between. By the look in that dugout, Vasquez probably done 108 pitches in his 7 innings. And Lou will go with a pinch hitter to lead off the bottom of the 8th. Then you have Fukudome and Terrio. Bobby Cox has interchangeable parts at the back end of his bullpen as McCann is thrown out by Marshall. What a recovery. He banned on it as McCann was going by. Sean wanted to tag him, and then he was able to throw to first.
Wow. So much could have gone wrong with that play, and a few things did go wrong. Sean Marshall trying to glove this ball, comes up empty, but then bare hands and flips on to Derek Lee as McCann ran around Sean Marshall to avoid the tag, and that gave him enough time to regroup and throw on to Derek Lee for the out. Well, that's one we've seen a lot of times where the pitcher will pick that ball up and drop it once and then pick it up the second time and fire it down into that right field bullpen.
Lunch pail night.
Hi, Mom. I love you.
First 5,000 children and a couple of TV broadcasters got the Cubs lunch pail.
Yes, indeed.
We're lunch bucket kind of guys. Broken bat liner to Derek Lee. Back to the Braves bullpen for a second. Bobby Cox has the luxury of a lefty and a righty he can use interchangeably in the 8th and the 9th. Mike Gonzalez, the lefty, and Rafael Soriano, the righty. Gonzalez is 9 for 13 in save chances with 6 holds, and Soriano 8 for 9 in saves with 6 holds. Got to take the egos out of the equation, and these two guys have, so Cox can look at the inning and say, I'd rather go with Gonzalez tonight in the 8th. And that's what he's going to do. 1-1 to Casey Kochman.
Well, Lou off his bench tonight has a couple of switch hitters in Milton Bradley and Andres Blanco, but everybody else a right-handed hitter. So if it indeed is going to be Gonzalez, he's going to face a right-handed hitter to start that bottom half of the 8th inning and then roll around to the top and Kosuke Fukudome.
Tapper back to Marshall. This is an easier play for Sean. He lobs over and they go 1, 2, 3. We'll go to the bottom of the 8th. It's 2-1 Atlanta. So tweet us at twitter.com/LenandBob. Lefty Mike Gonzalez likes to rock and kind of get in rhythm as he sets to pitch. Milton Bradley lines, but he hit it too well. And Garrett Anderson makes a catch. That ball was hit hard by Bradley.
First pitch slider that stayed over the inside part of the plate for Milton Bradley. Hit it hard. It was trying to sink in front of Garrett Anderson, but he's able to come in and make a running catch coming straight toward the infield.
It will not be Fukudome. It'll be Reed Johnson.
This is one of the more unusual deliveries you will ever see.
Strike on Reed. Back problems put him on the DL. It came on before the game last night. This is his first at bat. Lower back spasms. The reason he went on the DL. He had 4 homers and 10 RBIs in 18 games before the DL stint. Kevin Gregg up in case the Cubs rally here and take the lead. He's getting on Mike Gonzalez as Johnson shows bunt. Takes it for ball 2.
I said it before. It looks like the guy standing on the back of a fishing boat as the waves are hitting it. You know, just rocking back and forth and back and forth. And believe me, I have no idea how this came to be. You know, usually if a guy has an unusual quirk in his delivery, he can explain it away in some fashion. You know, I was injured and I had to do that because my knee hurt, or you know, I wanted to take an extra second and catch my breath, take that one last deep breath. But this rocking back and forth, I don't know what useful purpose it serves. I don't know where it came from.
In the air to left, Anderson again. 2 outs. Well, it's worked.
Yeah. I think it's worked because he's got good stuff. I think he could use a traditional windup out there on the mound and probably get the same results. But if it makes him happy, what the heck?
A ton of strikeouts for Gonzalez. 54 in 40 innings. And the pitch to Terrio is a strike on a breaking ball. Oh, and 2.
Now I wonder what the rule would be, because you know, umpires have to grant timeout to a batter, and if they feel the pitcher is too far into his delivery, they will not grant timeout. But what do you do about a guy that stands out there and rocks back and forth on the mound? Is that considered starting his delivery when he does it 4 or 5 times? I mean, as a hitter, you're ready for the pitcher to deliver the ball. You're standing there ready to go, and he's rocking back and forth and back and forth. Are you allowed to call timeout, and would you be granted timeout if you called it right now?
That's a good question. Terrio dunks it into right, base hit. Could be 2. On his way to second. And a tying run is in scoring position. It's a 1-2 double.
Nice piece of defensive hitting by Ryan Terrio. Got that slider before it got all the way down below the knees with that inside out swing. dunks it down there in right field. Francoeur had a little trouble getting it out from underneath the pad down there in right, but Theriot content to stay in scoring position at second base.
D. Lee is nothing out of 3. Here's a pitch. Ball 1. 40,359 packed into Wrigley Field tonight.
Well, I'd be really surprised to see Derek Lee get anything too good to hit in this situation, even though he does represent the go-ahead run in the ball game. You got a left-handed hitter in Micah Hoffpower in the on-deck circle.
He pops it up on a fastball, and it's Conrad calling for it and catching it, and that ends the inning. So a 2-out double, but no runs to the 9th. 2-1 Braves. Stay tuned following the game. Mark Sapelsa, Micah Mater, Tom Skilling, and Dan Roan will have the WGN 9 o'clock news. Dan will have all the highlights from this one as Reed Johnson stays in and plays center. Right-hander Aaron Heilman facing Jeff Francoeur, who promptly hits a ground ball deep up the middle, and Theriot can't throw him out. That ball backed him up into the outfield grass, and he could not get it on the mark to Derek Lee. It's a base hit for Francoeur.
Yeah, that last hop that forced Ryan Theriot to back up about a half a step and then can't get much on the throw across the diamond pulls Derek off the bag at first base.
Throw to first. Francoeur back in plenty of time. Conrad at the plate, and Matt Diaz now has jumped into the on-deck circle. 36th appearance for Heilman. Last 14 appearances, he's put up a 1.93 ERA. Not an issue tonight because he started the inning, but he has had trouble with inherited runners. Over half the runners he's inherited have scored. That's a good bunt by Conrad, and Heilman throws over Lee. And Conrad safe. Two infield hits for the Braves, and they're threatening.
Heilman was really slow getting off the mound, getting after that bunt to the first base side. Derek Lee had been holding the runner. He saw the short bunt, so he retreated to first base to cover the bag, and Fortunately, Mike Fontenot right there to back up as Heilman's throw sails over the head of Derek Lee.
Here's Matt Diaz, one of the premier pinch hitters in the game. Going back to 2006, in the pinch, he's hit .312. That leads the majors among all pinch hitters with at least 100 at bats. And having said that, he's going to try to make it out.
4 for 10 as a pinch hitter for Bobby Cox this year, but looks like he's going to be asked to put down a sacrifice bunt, move those 2 runners into scoring position. He does have 1 sacrifice bunt this season.
It up, and Ramirez makes a catch. Let's step aside and see what's coming up on WGN. So Diaz cannot get down the bunt. And I was going to get into this before he made the out, as McLeod fouls back. And I'm not questioning Bobby Cox, but if Diaz is your top pinch hitter off the bench and you know you want to lay down a bunt, and I don't know, maybe he is the best option to lay down that bunt, but I thought maybe he might go with somebody else, like a Gregor Blanco, somebody else who could get down that sac bunt and save Diaz in a situation where he wants him to swing away.
Yeah, maybe even one of your starting pitchers, whoever you feel is the most accomplished at getting down a sacrifice bunt, if you're going to give up that out to move up a couple of runners. Yeah, it seems kind of funny to waste your best pinch hitter in that situation.
Soriano the catch, McLeod makes the out. Well, Bobby's headed to the Hall of Fame at some point,
Yeah.
so.
Yeah.
As you say, and it's the best line about all this, he knows his roster better than we do.
Well, he's got to deal with them on a daily basis. He knows what he's got available, and quite honestly, there are a lot of days we're not sure what's going on with every player on the roster. We know Chipper Jones has a sore groin. We're not sure his availability tonight, but the other guys that Bobby has available off the bench, we're not sure if they're all 100% tonight.
No, it's kind of like last night. We didn't know about Ryan Dempster. Let's say the game had gone 17 innings and you needed somebody to lay down a bunt, and he was the only guy on the roster left, and he just wasn't able to even walk up to the plate. And we would have been wondering, well, why isn't Lou using it? Well, we would have found out today. You just don't know.
And that's part of the reason why managers so hate to do 2 press conferences a day, one before the game, one after the game. You don't want to tip your hand too much. Every team has issues with injuries, guys that are available one day, maybe not available the next day, or only available to pinch run, only available to face one hitter possibly out of the bullpen. But you don't want to tip your hand to those guys in that other dugout, so you don't like to divulge too much before the ball game starts. Now, many times Lou and Larry and Vaughn Joshua will give us some inside information from time to time about the ball club, but they trust that we're not going to divulge anything early in the game where it could change something that the other manager does.
Soriano in a closing role tonight. Heilman trying to get out of this jam. Foul tip. 2-2 to Prado. Chipper Jones with the groin. We haven't seen him tonight. Even close to heading into the on-deck circle. So we're not even sure if he's available tonight. As the crowd is up. And the pitch outside on a fastball in the mid-90s. Runners go on the 3-2. Fontenot stops it from his knees. He got him. What a play by Fontenot. Strong arm. Throwing from his knees, he gets the out, and we'll go to the bottom of the ninth. Well, I'll tell you, the Braves have played excellent defense tonight. The Cubs needing great defense here. Only down one. Soriano trying to even up this series with his 9th save. He's been really good. Hasn't given up many hits. 50 punch-outs in under 39 innings. Oh, what a combo, Soriano and Gonzalez. You combine these two guys, you'd make the all-star team. One strike to Michael Hoffpower. Well, if he can get on, Aramis Ramirez could win it. The 0-1 is hit foul to the left. A ton of nail biters over the last month plus. Two misses badly. 1-2. Last year, the Braves went 11-30 in games decided by 1 run. This year, they're 15-12, but only 4-7 on the road. What does that mean? Probably nothing. It could be a frustrating year for Bobby Cox. 41 times games were decided by 1. Hit well. McLeod, however, is playing deep here in the 9th inning. Our producer of Cubs baseball on WGN Sports is not that guy. It's Mark Brady. Skip Ellison is our director. Our associate producer, Doug Stanton, our executive producer, Bob Thorwald. Also, thanks to our technical director, George Dunmore. Omaha Scroba, our stage manager in the booth. Our studio coordinator back at WGN, Christina Ballas. And, of course, our entire WGN crew here at Wrigley Field. And the guy in a tie-dye shirt, too. Yeah. Just because.
I wonder where Stills, Nash, and Young are.
Here's Ramirez with 1 out. airing it out. Missed 50 games with the dislocated left shoulder. The Cubs went 2 games under in his absence. They won last night in his return. 0-2. I didn't ask Lou if Aramis will be in the lineup tomorrow. I think part of it will depend on how he feels. I'm sure when he comes in tomorrow, Lou will say, "What do you think?" And if he's not ready to go, we could see Jake Fox at third base. Able to hold up. 1-2.
Hard slider off the plate, low and away. That's another thing you're concerned about with Aramis Ramirez and that shoulder. The check swing puts so much strain on that front arm, especially the wrist, but also the shoulder.
A rare night when both the Cubs and White Sox are home and playing at the same time. And Paul Konerko on the south side has 3 homers tonight, 7 RBIs. As the White Sox lead Cleveland 10-5 in the 8th. Grand slam for Konerko on Chris Perez, who was traded for Mark DeRosa. 1-2 to Ramirez. The outside corner. 2-2. Very close. Brady Sizemore with 2 homers tonight in that game. Just a little bit away. Brandon Phillips with 2 tonight for Cincinnati. They beat the Phillies 4-3. Here it's 2-1 Atlanta in the bottom of the 9th. The pitch struck him out. Down to their final chance now. The Cubs have Soriano against Soriano. Good slider.
Oh, nasty slider. That one had a lot of downward movement. Good battling at bat by Aramis Ramirez. Already you can tell he's starting to get his strike zone narrowed down more and more.
Fonzio, 1 hit tonight. It was in the 4th, a single up the middle. She means it. It's all business. The Cubs are alive. Mike Fontenot will come up.
Takes that slider right back up the middle of the field. Another short, quick swing. Soriano reached on a fielder's choice back in the 7th inning and was stranded at first base. Might be time to pick a pitch and try to steal a base here. Get yourself into scoring position. Give Fontenot a chance to tie it up with a base hit.
Fastball at the knees, strike 1. Soriano trying to save it for Vasquez. Zambrano, the pitcher of record for the Cubs. And the 0-1. This is low. Jake Fox on deck for Coy Hill. Fontenot can keep this game alive. Deep and Shaded toward the left center field gap. Frank Court very deep in right. Anderson not as deep in left. Two and two. Kenshin Kawakami and Kevin Hart tomorrow, and then the Cubs have an off day Thursday before the St. Louis Cardinals come to town Friday. A 2-2 to Fontenot. It's a full count. Now Soriano can get a head start. That's significant. You see Kochman right on that first base line behind the bag. There goes Soriano. A foul fly that'll bounce over the roof. Kochman playing a no doubles defense to the extreme. He has his foot right on the line at first. 3-2 again. Soriano, the throw over to first, and Escobar gets Fontenot, and the Braves have evened up this series. As Javier Vasquez beats the Cubs for the second time, and the Cub fans will head home disappointed tonight. A pitcher's duel won by the Braves. Brian McCann with both RBIs. No Chipper Jones in their lineup, but they beat the Cubs 2-1.